This is a full story. Kitten wishes you all a happy and enjoyable story. I grew up with my girlfriend. We were childhood sweethearts, innocent and carefree. But on the day I proposed, she didn't show up. She wanted to take care of her male friend who was sick. She left me behind, throwing away our years of feelings, humiliating me in front of everyone. Later I married someone else. She then said she regretted it, but I have no regrets. In fact, I am grateful she wasn't there. Today is the day I plan to propose to my girlfriend Alice. I stand there in a neat black suit, expressionless, clutching the box with the ring tightly in my hand. 2 hours have already passed. Surrounded by roses, my friends and family gathered behind me. Fireworks are set to take off in the distance, but now I can only stand there, listening to the whispers behind me, because Alice hasn't arrived yet. Just a little while ago, her friend messaged me, saying she was downstairs and would be up soon. I waited patiently for about 10 minutes, only to receive another stuttering excuse from her friend. She said Alice suddenly fell ill and went to the hospital. Listening to this clumsy lie, I suddenly felt the night grow a little cold, but nothing compared to the chill in my heart. Alice being sick, that's unlikely. It's probably her dear friend Tony, who is sick and hospitalized again. After all, this is not the first time. Alice and I grew up together from kindergarten all the way through college. Everyone thought we were made for each other. Even our parents accepted our relationship. When the school cracked down on early romances, no matter how close Alice and I were, the teachers always turned a blind eye. I vowed that I would marry no one but Alice, and Alice said she would marry no one but me. Everything seemed to be heading towards the kind of childhood sweethearts to old age scenario, until Tony showed up. Tony entered our lives 6 years ago. At that time, he was a new student, and Alice and I were busy organizing the freshman welcome party. During the welcome party, we unexpectedly bumped into each other. While I was busy apologizing, Tony quietly gazed at Alice. He came from an ordinary county, was slightly skinny, and had a decent appearance. Everything seemed quite normal except for his eyes, which sparkled like stars in the night sky. So when he looked at Alice with those beautiful eyes and said, "Senior, you're so beautiful that I accidentally bumped into you," Alice was delighted and started chatting with him. In that moment, I thought it was just a polite exchange between a senior and a junior, or perhaps a casual conversation, until Tony brought breakfast to Alice, until Tony and Alice appeared at my competition together, until their pictures together grew increasingly intimate. Even after graduation, Tony joined Alice's company. Facing my own family's company, Alice and I worked side by side, and then I stood in front of my company watching her and Tony walk into her office hand in hand. They looked perfect together. Even the employees at her company said so, but she was clearly my girlfriend, wasn't she? Alice is Rocky's girlfriend. They might not know, but how could Alice forget? I suppressed the anger rising in my chest and walked to a corner to call Alice. I dialed repeatedly, but there was no answer. Taking a deep breath, I reluctantly initiated a video call to Tony. On the first try, Alice answered. On the other end of the video, her hair was disheveled. Her face was filled with guilt and conflict, and her lips were pressed tightly together. Her friend had told her that I was planning to propose, but she still left. In the moment the elevator doors closed, she walked away without looking back. The chatter behind me faded, slowly drifting into silence. "Rocky, I'm sorry I couldn't make it. Can we do it next time? Next time I will propose to you." Why? I looked at her, unable to understand what had gone wrong. Why didn't she even have a moment to come and say she was willing? Alice fell silent for a moment, her gaze flickering. She opened her mouth, then slowly closed it again. What happened to Tony? My calm tone made Alice's expression stiffen as her face changed. Alice forced a smile. "Rocky, Tony, he's in the hospital. Cancer, you know. His family lives far away, and I'm the only friend he has. If I don't come, nobody will take care of him. Cancer, that was something I should check on. So how is he still alive? So you can't even spare 10 minutes. You can't even come upstairs to answer if you're willing or not, right?" At that moment, I suddenly realized I couldn't see Alice's love for me. She chose Tony even before it came to a choice. If one day a decision is needed, I think it would be Tony too. Rocky, when Tony called me, it was quite urgent. So I just So you just left. Again and again. Tony is her friend. Tony is her close male friend. Tony is her male confidant. Now is he about to become her boyfriend? I stood there nearly driven mad, but I still wanted to give Alice a chance, to give our relationship a chance. If Alice chose to let go of Tony, then we would still have a future. "Rocky, Alice, we're all still here waiting. Everyone is still here. Could you come back for me?" I softly yet firmly stated my request. It was a reasonable suggestion. I could embarrass myself, but I still wanted a definite answer. I was betting on Alice's serious feelings for us, but Alice remained silent. I already knew her answer. "Rocky, I can't leave right now. Tony said he's not feeling well, and I'm worried something might happen to him alone." She lowered her head, refusing me with the same calm yet resolute tone. I felt the quiet anger in my chest about to erupt. The ring box in my hand was close to slipping from my grip. Through childhood innocence, so many friends and family had helped from afternoon until evening. Yet the leading lady wouldn't even show her face. Did Alice ever think about what would happen to me if she didn't come? It wasn't just about becoming a laughingstock being pointed at by others. What hurt me more was that she was giving me up. Can we let the nurse Alice watch over him, you need to hurry. I suppressed my anger, my voice hoarse. Alice took a deep breath and looked up. Rocky, Tony is in the late stages of cancer. The doctor said he has just over a month left. He just confessed to me. I turned him down, but he said he wants me to spend his last time with him. I agreed. Her words came out quickly as if she were afraid I would misunderstand her. Rocky, I love you. Don't worry, I'm only accompanying him for this short time. After all, he only has a month left. Alice's voice became choked with emotion, tears streaming down her face. When he's gone, I will propose to you. I watched her through the screen, seeing her teary eyes, but I could only laugh. How ridiculous. My girlfriend was going to spend time with someone who had just confessed to her. My girlfriend was choosing to leave her boyfriend who was about to propose to her for her male friend. My girlfriend seemed to be turning into someone else's girlfriend. I shook my head in self-mockery. Everything felt tragic. Seeing my silence, Alice once again hastened to declare, Rocky, I swear I love you. I haven't betrayed you, and I won't. 15-year-old Alice vowed to marry no one but Rocky. I keep my promises. Rocky, wait for me. Again, those words. Every time it was those words. But I was really tired. The ring slipped from my hand and fell to the floor. I hung up the phone but quickly dialed someone else. Bang, bang, bang. In the distance, fireworks lit up the night sky. A voice from my subordinate came through my phone. Congratulations, Boss Rocky, on your proposal. We hope you and Miss Alice will marry soon and grow old together. I didn't respond. Really, I was so tired. In this long-distance relationship, I was voluntarily stepping back. Alice, I don't need you to propose to me anymore. From now on, we have no relationship. I won't wait, and I don't want to wait anymore. Everything in front of me blurred, my heart twisted painfully, and I collapsed to the ground. I woke up in the hospital. My parents' concerned gazes meeting my eyes. The ward was filled with many relatives and friends, including Alice's parents and Aunt Mary. They all had participated in this absurd proposal. Seeing me awake, my mother sat by the bed, holding my hand and constantly wiping her tears. Alice's father looked at me, his eyes filled with guilt. Rocky, you're awake. This is my daughter's fault. It's infuriating, rest assured. I'll definitely teach her a lesson. Yes, Rocky, take good care of yourself. We'll definitely give her a good lesson. She doesn't know how to distinguish right from wrong. Who doesn't know Tony has ill intentions? It's just her who considers him a friend. Aunt Mary, with red-rimmed eyes, repeatedly assured me. I looked at the scene in front of me, opened my mouth, then closed it again. Whether or not to teach her a lesson seemed none of my business. I no longer had the right to intervene. After all, from now on, I had nothing to do with her. Aunt, let it be. It has nothing to do with me, I said calmly, but it felt like a bomb had dropped in the room. The silent crowd began to chatter, and soon fell silent again. Everyone was looking at me. I knew it might be hard for them to accept. After all, so many years of feelings couldn't just be let go. Besides, Tony had intruded between us for 6 years. Alice and I had our arguments before, but I had never said such words. And my relationship with her is over. My mom held my hand, tears rolling down her cheeks. What does Alice think? After all these years of feelings, how can she just walk away? Where does she expect my son to put his face? And don't be angry. I've already sent someone to find her. Let's figure out the situation first. Don't worry. I'll make sure she gives us an explanation. How can Rocky and Alice's years of relationship just be discarded? I frowned and raised my voice, saying firmly, and I have no relationship with Alice anymore. There won't be any in the future. Okay. No relationship. We won't be involved with her anymore. My mom probably thought I was just saying this in anger and went along with my words, then asked everyone to leave. She hurriedly called for a doctor, worried I might be anxious and something else would happen. When the doctor arrived, I was pushed around to undergo another checkup. The results were inconclusive, just exhaustion combined with excessive sorrow. Some rest would do the trick. I could even be discharged immediately and go home to recuperate, but my mom was still worried. I felt helpless, but I also didn't want to make her anxious, so I obediently lay in the hospital to recover. Worried about my health, my parents insisted on staying in the hospital to take care of me. I looked at my father lying on the same bed as me. I thought I would no longer let them worry in the future. The next afternoon, I received a call from Alice. It was Alice's father who came to the hospital handing me his phone. She had called me that morning, but I hadn't answered. With her reminder, I decisively blocked and deleted her number. Reluctantly, I took the phone while my parents and Alice's father stepped outside to give us space. Looking at her through the screen again, I felt that although it had only been one night, she seemed unchanged. Indeed, she was really beautiful. Tony was right. She was no less stunning than movie stars or popular idols. But after I let everything go, she was just pretty to me. Rocky, are you feeling okay? I'm sorry I can't visit you. Tony isn't well. He's reacting a bit strongly, and I need to take care of him. The guilt in her eyes seemed ready to spill over. Her gaze was filled with concern for me. I wanted to laugh, so I did. It's okay, after all, we're just ordinary friends. I smiled back at her, complying with her wishes, but she seemed unsatisfied. Rocky, don't say things like that. Her tears fell instantly, and she choked out an apology. Rocky, I'm so sorry. Please don't say that. We need to be okay. Can you forgive me? She cried heartbreakingly. It felt as if I was rejecting her, and in a way I was. I didn't want her anymore. Sure, come over and I'll forgive you. After saying that, I hung up the phone. She couldn't possibly come. Tony wouldn't let her go. He had worked hard to keep her close, finally having her there without the need to be just a male friend. How could he let her go? If he were straightforward about it, I'd respect him a little. Yet he behaved like a thief, stealing her away little by little. I lay in the hospital for 3 days, finally unable to bear it any longer. I went home without telling my mom first. Until I got home, I had not seen Alice at all, not even a phone call, just a message apologizing, explaining that Tony's illness was serious and she was preparing to travel with him. In contrast, Tony called, putting on a show of apology, then bragging away. I didn't care. Instead, it reminded me there was a clean break from someone I had deleted. On the first day home, I officially announced on social media that my relationship with Alice was completely over. Then, within 3 seconds, my WeChat messages shot up rapidly. Before I could open any message to see their shock, a video call popped up on the screen. Haley, she was somewhat of a childhood friend to me. Our circle of friends had grown up together, but Alice and I had known each other since kindergarten. With the others, the earliest connection was in elementary school, the latest in high school. Haley was part of the middle group. The first time I met her was during the second year of middle school when she transferred to our school. She was different from Alice. If Alice was the gentle, tranquil moonlight, then Haley was a passionate red rose. But in reality, she used to be a little delinquent. When the teacher asked her to introduce herself, she just said her name, then casually sat next to me, whistling and saying, "Hey, good looking, not bad at all." My face turned dark at that moment. "Hey, Rocky, has Alice finally gotten together with Tony and dumped you?" On the other end of the line, Haley laughed at me, carefree and without hesitation. In fact, I hadn't been in touch with her for a long time. Alice didn't like me being too close to her, so we had distanced ourselves tacitly. Ironically, Alice had gotten even closer to Tony. Haley couldn't accept that we were just ordinary friends, so why did she think I needed to accept her, as she accompanied her male friend for the last journey of his life? Well, that's not entirely accurate. It should be that I don't want her anymore. Come on, they're both at the seaside, staying in a seaside view room. Oh, I responded to her teasing with a blank expression. What did it matter to me? A seaside view room, that's all. Even if they shared the same coffin, I wouldn't mind. Really, you don't care at all? I raised an eyebrow, smiling as I looked at her. She carefully observed my expression, falling silent for a moment. I looked at her, and before she could speak, I took the initiative to say, "Haley, can I pursue you?" I'm not joking, nor am I sulking. Alice didn't like me getting close to her because she said when she was drunk, if they weren't together, I would definitely chase Rocky. I don't know how this reached Alice, then made its way to me. A few years ago, when Alice grew closer to Tony, my friends advised me to give up. They even quietly informed Haley, telling her that the opportunity had come. But I am stubborn, and I won't turn back until I hit the wall. I rejected her once again. Now I wish she would give me another chance. Rocky, you aren't joking, are you? Do I look like I am? Haley, I am serious. My dad is ill in the late stages of cancer. I want to ease his mind before he leaves, but don't think I am using you. Of course, if you are unwilling, we can hold a banquet, keeping it from my parents. I will pursue you again until you are satisfied. I don't know what she would think, but this is indeed the only way I have at the moment. I hesitated before proposing, but I feared my father wouldn't make it. Yet it seemed Alice had completely forgotten. She only remembered that Tony was in the late stages of cancer, totally forgetting my father, who was like a father to her, also suffering from cancer. She forgot just days ago she held my hand and said she hoped we could get married soon, fearing we might not have time to witness our happiness. Rocky, I am at the airport. I felt a bit lost. Which airport? Rocky, I am back to pursue you. I am at Haicheng Airport in Beihai City. Beihai City, Haicheng Airport. Seems like it's not far from me. I smiled. I'll come to pick you up. I quickly gathered my things and headed out, stopping to buy a bouquet of fresh flowers. Before rushing to the airport, Haley was there dragging her suitcase, dressed in a camel-colored trench coat. Her wavy long hair danced in the wind. She seemed unchanged yet transformed in so many ways, still daring to dream and act, but now more mature and captivating. Holding the flowers, I approached her slowly. She extended her arms and ran toward me. With Alice, I was always the one running toward her, but with Haley, it was always her running to me. I quickened my pace and began to run. I thought I could run to Haley too, with determination and sincerity. We embraced tightly like lovers who hadn't seen each other in ages. I couldn't find the peonies, so I settled for red roses. That's fine, but how do you plan to woo me? Movies, flowers, gifts, a candlelight dinner, or do you have something else in mind? I counted them off, but felt she might not like any of those. Any of those works, so when will you ask me out? I paused for a moment, stepping back slightly. I stood up straight, then bowed a little, one hand behind my back, the other reaching out to her. Dear Lady Haley, may I ask if you would accompany me on a romantic date? Haley solemnly extended her hand, and I respectfully took hers. We both understood that in this moment, we were making our final choice. The date that evening did not happen, as my father was admitted to the hospital again. When Haley and I entered the ward hand in hand, everyone was a bit taken aback. Dad, Mom, this is Haley, my girlfriend, your future daughter-in-law. I formed formally introduced Haley to my parents. "Hello, Uncle and Aunt, my name is Haley." "A dear girl, come sit down. Thank you for coming by." Although my mom was unclear about the situation, she quickly pulled Haley aside to chat. They knew Haley, but had met her only a few times. She was the daughter left behind by the late Mrs. H, well known in our circle. I glanced back at Alcie's father and Aunt Mary, who seemed hesitant to speak, then exchanged a few words with Haley before stepping out of the ward. I stood face to face with Alcie's father. "Uncle, please rest assured our two families' cooperation will have no issues, I can guarantee that. I am not someone who confuses public and private matters. Even though my family was leading this collaboration, I wouldn't jeopardize the company's interests over something trivial." I was angry with Alice, but Alcie's father and Aunt Mary treated me well. Uncle's expression stiffened. "Rocky, I'm not trying to say that I know your family wouldn't do that. I just want to ask, is it really over between you and Alice? Can't you give her another chance? She will surely regret it." "Regret? I don't know if she would regret it. Just moments ago they told me Alice was taking a walk on the beach with Tony. But even if she regretted it, it was no longer my concern." I smiled faintly. "Uncle, no one waits forever for someone else. Moreover, this isn't the first time, is it?" My words caused Uncle to wince. Perhaps remembering what his daughter had done, his face turned pale. "I understand now, Rocky. It's Alice's fault. She doesn't deserve you. Rest assured, I won't let her disturb you anymore." After saying this, Alcie's father and Aunt Mary left. I took Haley and my mom back to my home before returning to the hospital to keep my father company. Just a few nights ago, he hadn't seemed so old. Now it felt like he had suddenly aged a lot. The next day, Haley came to the hospital with my mom. She sat by the bedside, making my dad and mom laugh heartily. But I felt a bit lost. The doctor said my dad's condition had suddenly worsened, and he might not have much time left. I turned and walked out of the ward, standing at one end of the corridor, looking through the window at the tall buildings outside. "Rocky, let's get married quickly." Haley hugged me from behind. I held her hands wrapped around me, gently rubbing them. This was indeed what I wanted. But when the moment came, I felt a bit hesitant. She shouldn't have to bear this for me. We hadn't even been in touch before all this happened. I shouldn't pull her into this. I opened my mouth to refuse, but found I couldn't say it out loud. It was as if she knew what I was about to say, and she covered my mouth with her hand. "If you refuse me again, I'll knock you out and take you home first." I couldn't help but chuckle. I really couldn't refuse her anymore. So I nodded and said, "Okay." The wedding was hurriedly arranged. My meeting with her father was also quite rushed. We didn't even have time for wedding photos. On the day, I accompanied her to try on the wedding dress. I stood outside the fitting room. As the curtain slowly opened, my heart seemed to stop beating. The white wedding dress outlined her perfect figure. The mermaid-shaped skirt flowed gracefully as she walked, each step like a blooming lotus. I had always known she was beautiful, but in this moment, I truly felt that such beauty seemed to be meant for me. I snapped back to reality and quickly stepped forward, holding her in my arms. "Haley, you really are stunning." That was all I could say. At that moment, all words of praise felt insufficient. She was like a red rose in a winter wonderland, passionate, radiant, and dazzling. I cannot describe how I felt in that moment. I suddenly began to appreciate everything that had happened, almost regretting why it didn't occur sooner. That jerk Tony, truly useless. I kissed her forehead. "From now on, I am Haley's Rocky." The wedding was rushed but grand. Aside from not being able to customize a special wedding ring or wedding dress, I gave everything I could. Haley was very happy, and my father-in-law was quite satisfied. I was happy too. Mom and Dad kept calling me son-in-law, except for Alice, who was a bit slow to catch on. No one had informed her. Even Alcie's father and Aunt Mary didn't notify her. So I was a bit confused when I received her call. It was from a strange number ringing on my work phone. The moment I picked up, I heard Alice crying on the other end. "Rocky, how could you do this? Have you and Haley been together behind my back? Rocky, how can you betray me? How can you treat me this way? You know I don't like her. Even if you're upset, you shouldn't be with her. Rocky, please don't be with her. I'm on my way back. Wait for me, please. Can we get married instead?" Alice spoke quickly, her emotions escalating. By the end, she was crying loudly. "Alice, just because you and Tony are together, you can't assume we are too. We're not like you, we have our boundaries. And there's something else. Alice, I'm done with you. You've been sleeping with Tony, and you still expect me to wait for you. Am I some kind of fool? Or do you want me to expose the pictures Tony sent me? Let everyone know you've cheated. And also, Alice, Haley is my wife. Please think about who you are before you talk about her next time." I hung up, wanting to slap her from afar. What an idiot she was. And it's different when people are at their lowest. My dad is lying in bed, and they can still be together. It seems those with dark hearts see everything as dirty. Those who are vile themselves think everyone is like them. Haley caressed my chest, trying to calm me down. "Don't get angry, dear." I pouted. "Why if she slandered me?" Alice came back. When she arrived downstairs, I was busy with my wedding night, too preoccupied to pay her any attention. The next morning, as Haley and I were getting ready to apply for our marriage license, the housekeeper told me that Alice had been standing outside for a long time. Tony was right behind her, but due to the fact that we had changed the password overnight, no one was allowed to let her in, so she couldn't get inside. As a result, Tony suddenly collapsed and ended up in the hospital. I didn't care about any of this. She sent me a message saying she regretted it. I replied to her message. I have no regrets, not one bit. Marrying Haley is the best decision I've ever made. I took Haley to find a lawyer, transferring all the real estate under my name and most of my parents' property to her, clarifying that it was Haley's premarital property. This is a wedding gift from my parents to their daughter-in-law, and this is my gift to my wife. Haley wanted to refuse when she saw all of this, saying the bridal price was already enough. I acted stubbornly, saying if she didn't sign, we wouldn't go get the license, so we might as well go home first. Haley, feeling helpless, had no choice but to quickly sign and come with me to get the license. The moment we received the red booklet, I suddenly felt at peace. I was now a married man. I took a photo, posted it on my social media, my moments, and on all the platforms I had. Keep your distance from me from now on, especially those who keep inviting me out to play. I'm now a married man, and I'm different from you. Then, I locked the red booklet in the safe. Half a month after we received our marriage certificate, my father finally succumbed and passed away. Haley stayed by my mother and me, helping us to arrange my father's funeral. On the day of the memorial, I unexpectedly saw Alice after a long time. Although it had only been a month or two, it felt like ages. Haley and I stood aside, politely bowing to her. Alice stood silently, her eyes reddened, her face pale, and she had lost a lot of weight. She placed white chrysanthemums in front of my father's casket and respectfully lit incense. Rocky. I'm called Rocky, I reminded her softly while lowering my head. Anyone could call me that, but not Alice. What if my wife misunderstood? Alice paused for a moment before changing how she addressed me. Rocky, my condolences, and I'm sorry. In the end, I lifted my head to glance at her. What kind of apology was that? No matter the reason behind her apology, I didn't need it anymore. Moreover, apologies hold little meaning for victims. They merely comfort the perpetrators. What's more, I was actually grateful she hadn't come. With that thought in mind, I spoke out loud. Gratitude should be expressed. Thank you for not coming that day, otherwise I wouldn't have had the chance to marry my wife. Haley subtly nudged me and shot me an admonishing glare. I turned my head to look at the photo of my father smiling. Indeed, my dad still supported me. Tears welled in my eyes. Alice ran away in tears. After that day, I never saw Alice again. I only heard that Tony had passed away. If he had to go, then so be it. He died in Alice's arms just as he wished, which is pretty good. I didn't attend the funeral. I heard that Alice stood beside his parents, bowing to the visitors and thanking them, just like I once did. I don't know what identity she had then. I really wanted to ask, but Haley wouldn't let me go. What a pity. After a flurry of work commitments, I finally carved out some time to take Haley on our honeymoon. We traveled to many places, experiencing different ways of life. The last stop on our honeymoon was Indonesia. We woke up in the early hours, riding in a jeep through the darkness. Standing on the path at the viewpoint, we watched the sun rise slowly in the distance. The sunlight illuminated the golden mountains, and also her radiant cheeks. As I watched her call out to the horizon, I clenched the custom ring in my hand. When the sun fully rose, I knelt on one knee. I didn't ask if she would marry me. I simply asked if I could pursue her for a lifetime. She didn't say yes, but asked me which hand. We made a lifelong promise. Under the newborn sun, in a foreign land, with strangers as witnesses, we held each other tightly. We embraced, embedding one another deep in our hearts. I felt that heaven favored me. It took the broken pieces of me, wrapped them up, and gave them to Haley, who accepted them without hesitation. Then she carefully pieced me back together. Later, Haley wore the ring I designed for her, along with the wedding dress I helped design, and we took unique bridal photos. On the day, I proudly showed off my wife on all platforms. Alice messaged me, asking if I could give her the ring she wanted, or if she could buy it from me. I thought about it, and sold the ring at half price to my playboy friend. He wanted it to tease his new fling, and the ring was just right, holding my lovely wife in my arms. I couldn't help but smile brighter than ever. Eventually, we became the model couple in our circle, and I became a benchmark for being a good man. We had a handsome son and a lovely daughter. We walked through life together. Haley once told me she would go first, and indeed she walked ahead of me. I stood by her bedside, holding her hand, begging her to wait for me. In the next life, I wanted us to grow up as childhood sweethearts, hand in hand until old age. People often said it was a pity she wasn't my childhood sweetheart. If only that were the case, it would be a wonderful tale. I agreed, so I asked Haley for the next life together. She agreed. I made peace with my children and closed my eyes, lying next to her. This time I couldn't let her wait too long. Extra Haley's perspective. When I learned Alice had left Rocky again, I felt a bit happy. I knew it was time for Rocky to let go. That's the kind of person he is. Only turns back after hitting a wall. I recognized my opportunity. Whether it was opportunistic or strategic, I didn't care about others' opinions, only how Rocky felt. People often wonder why I could like Rocky for so long, despite being repeatedly rejected. The reason is simple. When I transferred schools and we met, I was a rebellious girl, blaming my father for my mother's death, totally lost, either causing trouble or heading that way. Everyone pointed fingers at me, except Rocky, who saw through me and treated me sincerely. He said, "You must take responsibility for your life. Don't punish yourself for others' mistakes." He told me, "You should seek the truth, not fear it." I listened to him, and I found out how wrong I had been. At that moment, he told me, "Admit your mistakes mistakes everyone makes them. It's those who refuse to admit their mistakes who are the weak ones. So later I often found it confusing how someone so wise about life could be so muddled in love. In fact, I felt weird about it. If Rocky had agreed to be with me back then, I wouldn't have liked him anymore because I couldn't believe a good person could pursue someone while having a girlfriend. He didn't agree, and I wondered why. My friends said I was sick. I thought so too. But that didn't stop my feelings for him from growing. When I called him, I just wanted to tease him a little, to make him laugh, never thinking he would say he wanted to pursue me. Even if it was because Rocky's father was sick and he needed someone to marry him, I was still so happy he chose me because I understood him. Once you connect with him, he would give his all to be responsible for you. My mother used to say, in the end, love is all about character and conscience. I believed him, and sure enough, he never let down my trust. He gave me everything, and we grew old together. On his deathbed, he held my hand by my bedside, asking me to wait for him. I agreed. In the next life, we would grow up together as childhood sweethearts, then grow old together. Extra Rocky, I just want to say one thing. I am thankful for my male best friend. Without him, I would have missed out on my wonderful wife. Thank you. The end. If you like Kitten's story, please follow and like it. Updated every morning at 9 a.m.